Hey, I guess this is Voodoo in the Woods, and we're going to get that intro for you really soon. What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods, and I am according to Woods, and he is the great former MMA champion, consummate mixed martial artist, Voodoo Maximus, Pius Lobo, and we are going to break down UFC Fight Night, Teixeira versus Thiago Santos. We welcome you here, and Voodoo, how are you, good sir? You astute scholar, you. Look at you.
I'm doing, yeah, I'm doing quite well. I'm doing quite well, sir. How are you today?
I'm feeling slightly underdressed, but that might be because I'm wearing my underwear right now. It's not underwear. It's like Zubaz, right? Like I got Zubaz shorts and shit like that, and you came like a professional, so I feel weird, but not as weird as one Thiago Santos, obviously, because the shit was just weird, and love the intro, says Jesse Velasquez. Thank you. And the card was fucking fire. Almost all finishes, 100%. I mean, Voodoo Maximus, like, overall, how did you enjoy this particular card?
Um, it was like fine wine. It was like those cheese that people have with their wine. It was more like that. It was like a sophisticated night for me. I was just chilled out. I didn't have any cheese or wine, but I felt like I was having cheese and wine as I watched the beautiful display by these fine young chaps.
My goodness, I mean, it's not just the sweater and the ambiance. I mean, Voodoo Maximus has gone on full on sommelier, fucking pairing cheeses with wine and whatever. For me, I'd just be fucking stuck in a cellar. That's it. That's where you have according to Woods. Somewhere in the cellar, fucking aged. Not with not finely aged, just like motherfucker just has mold. That's me. But we've got the always impressive Voodoo Maximus. So I mean, my goodness, I couldn't have put it any better myself. So shit. I guess we'll get right into it, right? I mean, the first fight of the night, we had former Combate Americas champion Gustavo Lopez and at the returning Anthony Burchank, El Zorro, as he is called. My goodness, this one was like, it reminded me of Play It to the Bone. Do you remember that movie, Voodoo Maximus?
I believe so. I believe so. Vaguely.
So theoretically speaking, right? Play It to the Bone was this movie of the '90s, and it starred respectively Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas, right? And they were two boxers, right? Two boxers on like probably the twilight of their career, right?
Yeah.
They had taken some, right, and they get a fight, the big money fight that they won, but it's against each other, and they were trading partners, they're friends, right? So that's what this card reminded me of, because obviously Bergshank as well as Gustavo Lopez trained at Extreme Couture. They're friends, former teammates, still teammates, right? And just with Anthony basically opening up his school in Arizona, and then obviously Gustavo is still with Extreme Couture, right? So this was Gustavo Lopez's original opponent fell out, and then after a 4-year sabbatical outside of the UFC, but he's competed in literally around the world in terms of MMA prowess, competed in high level jiu-jitsu tournaments and everything. But Anthony Burchak makes it back, and holy hell, man, this is crazy, And Jesse Velasquez says Lopez caught his ass real quick, choked him out. Lopez looked well rounded there. Absolutely. I mean,
Mm.
speaking of like well rounded, I mean Gustavo Lopez on his UFC debut pulled off a Chavo Guerrero Jr. fucking tornado DDT. So I mean, talk about everything well-rounded and circular and all that jazz. That is Gustavo Lopez. But your thoughts, Rudo Maximus?
Yeah, everything. I mean, everything you said was right on point. The fact that they knew each other makes for a much more interesting matchup, and the fact that uh, pretty much both fighters are on their way into the UFC. Gustavo needing his first win in the UFC. Anthony Burchak needing to win his first match in the UFC, which makes it a little bit more interesting. And the fact that they knew each other, they former training partners, was icing on the cake. It's always strange to witness something like that, or I find it weird to compete against people from the U of MMA. They weren't even my training partners. Yeah. For me, it was weird to fight against people from the U of MMA. Like anyone else from anywhere else, I was fine. They were like strangers, you know. But even those people from the U of MMA was a little strange for me. Not to talk about these guys that train together. You know what I'm saying? To have to fight, it's I don't know. For me, I probably couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But also you have to consider the circumstance of each individual. Perhaps this is his only shot. Perhaps he wouldn't have done it if this wasn't the only way for his family to survive. So I guess under those pretenses, I would do it too. You know what I mean? If my son needs to eat tomorrow and I have to fight my homeboy today, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, at least Gustavo understood. He was like, you know, I'm cool with it, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta handle your business. I gotta handle my business too. Let's do it. They had to talk about it. The date, when once the fight was announced, they had to talk about it. It was all good, so they did it, and it turned out to be a very good match, actually, man. It didn't last long. It wasn't the first round, but I mean, what do you expect in a situation like this when they know each other so well? They know each other's weaknesses. They know each other. You know what I mean? And then the one that's usually the alpha at the gym possibly could be the alpha in the match. And I'm guessing that's the case here. Gustavo was the alpha in the gym, and Anthony was, because the way he beat him. It was almost systematic. He knew exactly what to do, and he went straight at it. Just like that shirt you're wearing, man. That's how Bret the Hitman Hart used to do him. He would break him down systematically and then finish him off with the sharpshooter. And then Gustavo Lopez was there to finish him off with, I believe, a submission, right? A rear naked choke or
Yeah,
something like that.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
exactly how it went down. Rear naked choke, first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It is what it is, right?
yep. No, Jesse says got striking in terms of Lopez, got striking, grappling, and a WWE moveset. And shout out to Rafa Sparza of Verbal Tap and Grappling Hour with his WWE BJJ. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that iteration of WWE BJJ because obviously COVID. It's hard to train anything, let
Yeah.
alone combining a wrestling with your grappling, right? Um, during COVID. Like I mean, that it kind of sucks, you know.
Indeed. The one thing that I'm noticing about this COVID is there's many different effects to it. Some people are decimated by it. Some people are enhanced by it. You know what I mean? Circumstances everywhere are different. It's always a different opinion to this COVID. In this particular case, probably wasn't the best. You know what I mean? But for some people, it's been like Jeff Bezos, for example. He's making like $3 billion a day. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
Adam Wood that does
So
200 podcasts since July plus spots. Yeah. So I'm just saying, somebody's got to find a way, right? We got to figure this shit
yeah,
out. I almost
that's
feel like
right.
a mole trying to figure out the way through. I don't know, like El Chapo's, lair or some shit. I don't know. Fucking a. Anywho, and Jesse says, competing against a former teammate is weird. You for sure kind of makes you want to hold back. However, whoever holds back usually loses. And that's
Yeah,
that's it. And shit, me. It's it's different, right? You know, in terms of like
Hmm.
headgear, like okay, you might like double jab me here, might bust my lip or whatever, but like full force, I'm gonna fucking smack my, you know, like my fist is gonna be essentially a locomotive, and that locomotive is gonna go
Yeah.
straight to your face. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like you have to take from the rational mind a certain percentage, and then take that and put it on the primal side, and then enhance the primal side. Whoever enhances the primal side more becomes, more aggressive in the case, and higher probability of smashing the the foe.
What was that voodoo? I mean, that video game back in the day with the, was it like Primal Rage or some shit where you were the big fucking Godzilla and the King Kong or whatever, and all you would do is like smash fucking buildings until they, like, that's how you won. Like, you smash buildings and then you kind of save people or you ate
Oh,
people. I can't remember, but whatever. But that's kind of like getting into a fight, right? Like, you're King Kong
yeah.
essentially, and nobody's anticipating you having feelings for the building that you're smashing, right? So this was different, right? The building that you're smashing is somebody that
Yep.
that is in your community. So fucking but more power to both of them, and hope to see both of them back, right? I mean, I want to see Anthony make the most out of his latest run, right? And it was kind of crazy, right? I think the first time he got into the UFC, he tweeted, right? He tweeted something, and then the same thing this time was like, he kind of threw his name in the hat and shit like that, and that's it. So, with everybody that is kind of crapping on social media and everything like that, but I mean, you can make things work for you, and
That's right.
social media can be that thing, so more power to you. Everything in moderation, obviously, but fucking A.
That's right. That's right. When you put it onto the universe, there's no telling whose ear it might catch.
Which is a fantastic segue to the second bout of the night in the 170-pound division. We had literally Max Payne Griffin living up to his name, and we had Ramiz Ba Mirage, right? Fucking A. I
Mhm.
mean, already, already, I was like, Max is bringing the pain with two fucking like on the button fucking nut shots, right? That was pain. Like, man, I really felt for Ramirez. Like, that was fucking nuts, right? But that was a precursor to what we would see and how the fight essentially got stopped. I mean, this one, if you believe in what was it? Was it Faces of Death? And all of those like videos or like those
Yeah.
gory Instagram
Yeah.
pages. This was made for that, right? Because we saw in the very last round, right? The very last round, Ramirez basically get his ear sliced and diced off. Now, obviously, this was a little bit different than, oh, say, Mick Foley and Vader in Germany when Mick Foley takes the bump over the ropes and whatever and gets caught in the ropes and his the ropes are tied too tight and gets his ear severed off. That was a different type of ear thing, right? uh or a Leslie Smith, right, in one of her last UFC appearances, literally had somebody put it right in her ear and her cauliflower ear exploded. And most recently we had Cupcake Johnny Campbell, a friend of the show, basically get his ear torn off the same way, right? So, uh, and Jesse Velasquez says, bro, Max Griffin was brutal, almost ripped the man's ear. He was even like, oh my God, his ear, right? I mean, Max Payne Griffin had sympathy for Ramirez, right? And saw so many articles bring up the Johnny Campbell ear, and it's been happening a lot lately. Now, Voodoo Maximus, when we talked last time about the Johnny Campbell ear injury, and we will kind of parlay it to Ramiz's injury, right? You were saying that you had a cauliflower kind of start to form, right?
Hmm.
And you made a conscious decision, don't do this shit for clout. I gotta hear. I've got a job, I've got a family, and I want to be able to hear them and whatever. So I'm gonna drain this shit. So what would your advice to Ramiz, who's on the mend, be?
There's nothing I can say now. I mean, it's what's already done is done. His ear is already hanging off. I'm sure they've already reattached it by now. But wow, man, half of his ear was flopping and hanging just like this. His ear was flopping. I was like, whoa! I had to post that picture, man. It was pretty surreal. Max Payne Griffin, man, he came in there and he did what he had to do. He knew this young man was new. He doesn't understand the ropes in the not the WWE, in the UFC. And he pretty much he pretty much exercised some basic fundamental skills, starting with extreme movement. When you have extreme movement, it is hard for your opponent to lock in and fire down the barrel. So he kept moving. And then he kept that in and out, left to right going, and he's jabbing and he's making his moves, he's throwing the twos. He's picking his shots, you know what I mean? He's throwing kicks here and there, calf kicks, you know. He did everything right. Max Griffin was on point. He wrestled when he had to. He put him on the fence when he had to. He backed off of him when he had to. And when he had the opportunity in the clinch, he threw a nice, beautiful elbow, took the man's ear off. And the referee was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I've seen enough. Let's end this right here. And that's what happened. TKO, Max Griffin. Excellent performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? Because I don't know if not for this like crazy happenstance that happened, would we be talking about this fight? Because I mean, it was almost like a systematic a systematic, kind of dismantling, right? Um, but I think with the gruesome injury, I think it definitely helped this fight. Like, we're talking about it the day after because of that injury. So, I mean, even if Max Griffin, theoretically speaking, would have KO'd, Ramiz, would we be talking about it? No, right?
Not
So
really.
this is a big win for Max Griffin in many ways, and
Yep.
and theoretically speaking, it's one for Ramiz as well.
Yes, 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 yes. Ramirez, he was very tough in coming in here and fighting a person of the caliber of Max Griffin, someone who's a UFC veteran of many, many fights. Um, Ramirez, after he fixes his ear, actually Ramirez himself was coming from terrible, terrible physical hindrance. He had some kind of a mass buildup behind his eye or something like that, and there was a possibility that he might not have fought ever again, but he was able to fight through that and make it back to the UFC. You know what I mean? Or get back on track to make it to the UFC since this was his first appearance. And, the man himself is a fighter, and with time, hopefully, he makes those changes right away. With time, he can establish himself in the UFC. He's got great striking. He's got precision striking. He just doesn't have that constant movement. He's an easy target right now. So when he learns to move his feet, then he'll be able to maximize on his strength that he brings to the table.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's I liked it. No, like I said, I don't think that we would be talking about it if not for that injury. So I mean, I hate the fact that it's a freak happenstance, but I mean we're talking about it now. So fucking A. I think it did its job. So, but holy hell! Speaking of doing the job, right? The third fight of the night, and this is like one of my freaking favorite fights ever. Just and because of one guy, that is Darren the Damage Elkins. Now, obviously, on Thursday, on our kind of preview show, we basically talked about me being in the house for UFC 209 with that Darren Elkins versus Mirsad Bektik fucking fight. I was there. I was in the cheapies, right? And heard that fucking growl after he KO'd fucking Mirsad Bektik. Aside from fucking Richard Leroy versus Jalen Turner at CXF8, which you can find on Fight TV, Darren Elkins and Mirsad Bektik was probably the greatest fight. That's probably the second greatest fight I've ever seen, ever, and live. Thankfully, I was there for both of them, right? But fucking A, you cannot, like, 25-6, right? That's Darren the Damage Elkin, right? Oh, 25-9, right? 10 years in the UFC. Fuck this. I want to just roll the fucking dice, right? He's 36 years old, doesn't have a lot of time left and shit like that. And he fucking is like Chuck Werpner, right? He's like the Beyond Bleeder, right? The precursor to Rocky, the muse for what Rocky became, right? Every time Darren Elkins fights, he fucking looks like he's been hit by a truck, right? But he made history. The most takedowns in featherweight history. The most takedowns. Like, there's like, he set 3 fucking different records by the end of the first round. Like, fucking A, dude. I say, fuck it. Full Monty, rolling the dice. I don't give a shit. Wait, who's the king of featherweight? Who's it? Is it Izzy? Is it who's
Uh,
it?
Volkanovski. Volkanovski.
Volkanovski. Fuck
Volkanovski.
it. Darren Elkins, Volkanovski. I want that shit. I want that fucking shit. I want that fucking fight. I mean, just like, and we'll get into it. Go over to Sharon, he's like, what more? 25-9, a decade in the fucking UFC. Fuck it. Let's just roll the fucking dice. I want to see what the fuck happens. Give this man his due so he can retire in the fucking
I,
sunset as champ or whatever. That 25-9 means to me, if you're fucking Sean Shelby, if you're Mick Maynard, and you might get a lot of shit, but those two get a lot of shit for booking the UFC any damn way. I wouldn't give a fuck, right? If I'm in the fucking war room, I'm giving fucking Elkins a fucking title shot. That there's no two bones about it. I want to see what the fuck happens, right? Like, shit, man. Like, fucking Darren Elkins, dude.
um,
That dude is my fight. Like, he is my fighter of the fucking this card. He's the MVP. Like, he fucking comes out and shows out, right? And he might not
yes.
win, whatever. But if he's gonna take another fight, one more fight, 2 more fights anyway, he was talking in his like post-fight press conference, that he had to talk to his wife and everything like that. That's all fucking good, right? Let's say he got one more. Fuck it. Let's just let it rip. We already saw Joe Soto versus, TJ Dillashaw when Renan Barao couldn't make weight, right? We saw that shit. It's not out of the realm of possibility, right? Just like when they brought Michael Chandler in, right? From, Bellator as an alternate, for Habib and Gaethje, right? Well, again, that's something that UFC used to fucking do, right? The one night tournaments, they had alternates. Same thing with Pride, right? It's something that they used to do 20 years ago, right? So let's just get fucking wild and woolly with it. Fuck it. Darren Elkins versus Alexander Volkanovski. Book that shit. I am buying it. I'm not even gonna fucking allegedly illegally stream it. If Darren Elkins gets a title fight, I'm buying that fucking pay per view.
Um, Darren Elkin is truly a man's man and something to be respected, or someone to be respected. Most definitely, because he, like you said in your words, he shows up. He shows up to perform every single time. In this particular matchup, he utilizes technique, or actually the right game plan, as they say. He utilized the right game plan, and it worked to a T. Luckily for him, he was able to implement his game plan, because if he hadn't implemented his game time, this Luis Grigori would have annihilated him. The few times that Grigori was able to let off his hands, oh my goodness. Look at the damage he threw. Yeah, he probably threw less than 20 shots, and look at the damage on Elkison's face. The
Yep.
damage, it was incredible. That the hand speed of this guy, the hand speed, he wasn't even really kicking. If he was kicking and punching at the same time, oh my goodness, he would have stopped Darren Elkins in the first minute. But
Def-
unfortunately for him, he's a flat-footed type dude. He likes to stand there, which is not the future. Someone like this with so much skill and he doesn't move. If Luis moved like Max Griffin did, you would have seen a beautiful striking display. You talk about Darren Elkins getting the title shot. Those guys in the top 5 are all capable of dynamic striking, which is gonna be bad for Darren Elkins' health. Very, very bad for his health. Imagine him, not even the champ. Imagine him being locked in there with Max Holloway.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to fucking see him and Max Holloway. I want to see him and Volkanovski. Boring ass fucking Volkanovski. Nothing against Volkanovski, the fighter and shit like that, but like, I've never, in terms of him on the Rogan podcast, that I'd rather bake bread. I'd rather lick paint. Like, that shit was painful, dude. Shit was painful, And then the embedded, for the last title fight and everything like that. And he's just got a dry fucking personality, right? And there's nothing wrong with him. He's a rugby guy, right? I mean, you don't have to have a lot of personality. It's only that top tier, 1% fucking rugby players that have the personality, right? And Volkanovski isn't that. So, like I said, I am not concerned with anything, Darren Elkins against the top 5. No, fuck no. No, that is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is fucking Elkins, Volkanovski, title fight to end it all, and then everybody else, whatever. Like, and no disrespect to Holloway, not disrespect to any of the top, 4 or 5, whatever. Like, I say, shit. Let this fucking thing rip. It's just like OG Bobby Green. Like, that motherfucker should get a title shot. If I'm booking it, I'm getting the fucking title shot. I'll, and I mean, that's assuming that the UFC rankings mean anything anyway, right? UFC, WWE, AEW, their ranking system is about the fucking same, just as legitimate as the other.
Yes, that's true. But what I'm saying to you about these top 5 dudes is the hand speed, man. Even this Luis guy, he had hand speed. The hand speed of these dudes, he would not make it out of the first round. I would love to see him get that up. I'm with you 100%. I'm looking at post-fight. He's not going to make that post-fight interview because he's going to the hospital, man. They're going to mash this dude up. The hand speed in the top 5 is too much. This is a 145 we're talking about. They're going to hurt this guy really, really bad. Don't you see it? You don't see him getting mangled?
Okay, so here's the thing. I never wish picograms or the COVID on anyone. But theoretically speaking, if something, fucking the Golden Snitch, Jeff Nowitzki or whatever, some shit happens in that top 5 and whatever, I'm just saying. And that fight with, Volkanovski fucking materializes. I'm just fucking saying I'm not mad at it at all. And Jesse says, hell yeah, Darren Elkins was on a big losing streak, fighting for his job, classic dirty, gritty Elkins style. He came with the comeback and broke the kid with the choke. Respect to his opponent, though. He looked great. 100%. But again, just saying, Volkanovski, Elkins, we can say, yeah, and Jesse's team Holloway, I thought he won the last fight against Volkanovski. 100%. Agreed. But, I lambasted.
He won both fights.
He won both, right? And so Volkanovski is much like Chris Weidman, right? Or as Conan, Mr. 5150, Bowdy, Tequila Sunrise, and all that shit, right? I'm pronouncing Chris Weidman. Yeah, Chris Weidman. But Volkanovski is much like Chris Weidman, right? Where you have back-to-back
Mhm.
losses, wins over a legend, right? Arguably the greatest in the division of all time, right? And both of them were kind of tainted, like a fucking picogram supplement. I'm just saying, right? So with that all being said, I say, fucking Nowinski, whatever, if any supplement people, that have like tainted supplements and shit like that, send them all to the top four in that featherweight division. Let them take it and whatever, and we get our man Elkins into that top shot. And again, he might get demolished. That's cool. But if you're gonna fucking fight any damn way, fuck it. I say we roll the
That's true.
dice. Yeah, Darren
I
Elkins.
see.
We're in
I
a
see
fucking
your point.
campaign season anyway, so fuck it. That is it. I am throwing my hat. Darren Elkins, Alexander Volkanovski for the fucking heavyweight
Let's
or
go.
featherweight title of the world. Fuck it. Book it, Dana. Book it. Well, I'm gonna get on the
Why
fucking
not,
Twitter
man?
with you
Why not?
tonight. Why the fuck not?
Why not?
So I'm
Why
just
not,
saying,
man?
dude.
Why not?
So
Let's
much love
let's
to
make it
fucking Darren
happen.
Elkins. He's a fucking badass among badasses. So you will
The
never get me to
damage.
fucking pick against this dude at all. He is the shit. He is fucking phenomenal. So just saying, just
He is
saying,
the damage. The
he is
damage.
damaged,
He is the
just
damage.
like the oddest of tattoos. My goodness, nothing says. I got tattooed in 2001, the year, than that fucking tattoo across his chest. So shout out to Darren Elkins for that one. The only thing
Hey,
different is
that
that
tattoo
barbed
looked like it
wire.
was. It looked like it was carved out with a knife.
Yeah, which it may be. Fuck it, hey, it may be. If you're Darren Elkins, you're down for that shit. So shout out to Darren Elkins and his prison tattoo. Fuck yeah, man. Uh, so we're going up to the heavyweight division, right? We had Alexander King Kong Romanov against Marcos Jorgero de Lima. And this shit was not even fucking close,
Mhm.
man. Like, this shit was King Kong Romanov all damn day. And twice on Sundays. We're on Sundays, so fuck yeah. It is like Romanov, holy fucking shit. And obviously champion of a different corporation, or not corporation, but a different organization, right? He's a champion of a different
Yes.
organization,
Yes.
and I love that shit because again, it it heightens the viability of different promotions not in the UFC. Top tier talent happen in other organizations. They don't necessarily just have to happen in the UFC. So I
Right.
fucking love this. I fucking love this. But your take?
This was a beautiful, beautiful match. Um, that there goes again. Wrestling is key, man. Wrestling is key because that was what was the key ingredient here. Alexander Romanov was he was intending to box in the very beginning until he felt the power of the Lima. Then he
Yeah,
quickly changed his mind and was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's change this right about now. Game plan number 2 in effect. And then he started wrestling the hell out of the dude. He took him to the ground and I believe they called it the 5th forearm choke. I don't think
yeah,
I've ever seen that choke before, but yeah, I think what he did was he crushed down on his neck. The pressure was so much that it cut the artery on the other side as well. That's what I'm guessing was going on because he didn't. There was nothing to pressure on the opposing pressure on the opposite side. So he only pushed from one side, but yet he was able to put him to sleep. That was very interesting. I'm gonna call my coach and talk to him about this particular one. We haven't really talked about it yet, but Alexander Romanov, he utilizes wrestling and he was able to get the W. Very, very, very easy. Saved himself a whole lot of hurt too.
yeah, 100%. And Jesse says this guy choked him out with his forearm. Haven't seen him in a while. You know, bullied him with grappling. His size, he looks like a promising heavyweight. No, 100%. And you know, this forearm choke. I mean, it's a poor man's Ezekiel. Theoretically speaking, it's a poor man's Ezekiel, right? Like
Yes.
that's what it
Yes,
is,
it
right?
is.
Because Ezekiel, what
Yeah.
you know, like you do that, and then
Mm-hmm.
your opponent's neck is like a fucking guillotine, right? Like,
Right.
and you just
Right.
close up, grab your
Just
elbows
so,
and shit
yeah.
like that, and that's it, right? So instead of using his other fucking arm, he used the canvas, right? He used the canvas as his other arm, and this is like a fucking straight out like it was a fucking poor man's Ezekiel. Like that's it, you know. Or like when you're training gi, right? When somebody fucking you know rear naked chokes you with a fucking lapel, and you're like, what the fuck
Right.
happened there?
Right.
That's exactly what this
Right.
was. Like, you know.
Right.
But I
Right.
mean, you know, Jim Cornette says if you haven't seen it yet, it's new to you. And I mean, a whole bunch of motherfuckers are put on notice. You know, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
tomorrow. I mean, assuming in the places where you can still train jujitsu, they're gonna go to the fucking just like you, right? Gonna go to
Mm.
Brian Peterson, right? They're gonna go to their respective jujitsu coaches and be like, "Yo, coach, tell me that." You know, and
Yeah.
that's it. You know, and I second the opinion that, or I further the opinion that that forearm choke should be called the Romanov. Like that's what we should call it. Like we should call it the Romanov, right? Or poor man's Ezekiel, whatever you want to fucking call it. And I'm putting my hat into both, either poor man's Ezekiel or the Romanov, but it was absolutely fucking effective. So effective that
And,
I mean, Romanov actually got a fucking fight at the what is it? A performance bonus for this.
yep. 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 Indeed, he did. Indeed, he did. And come Monday, like you said, everyone's gonna be practicing that come Monday.
Yeah, so that's it. You know, it's just like what happened. You know, when the first EBI combat jujitsu happened and everything like that. Everybody and their mama wanted to fucking do Puerto Rican slap boxing and shit like that for jujitsu. It was great. It was fucking great. You know, so just saying. Just saying. But fucking shout out to King Kong Romanov. Uh, I mean, if it's a poor man's Ezekiel, it netted him of an extra $50,000. So he ain't poor no more. Shaniqua don't come here no more.
Yeah.
Shaniqua's there. Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. So I'm just saying, this is a good win. Good win for fucking Romanov, right? But
Yeah.
holy shit.
Most definitely.
Trevin motherfucking Giles, man. This
Hmm.
dude, I mean, this dude didn't even make. I mean, Bevan Lewis, all respect to him, but it didn't even. This shit didn't even look close. Like this was like this was like ping pong versus like Andre Agassi. You know, like this shit was like levels ahead. Like you
Hmm.
know, like
Hmm.
this was. I mean, Trevin Giles, uh, fucking a man. Like that's a uh, third round KO TKO, right? Climbing into 13-2 versus Rayvon Lewis's 7-3. But fuck, I mean, Voodoo Maximus, break this shit down for us.
Wow, man, it was one of the veteran tricks that Trevin Giles used on Devin Lewis. It was, I mean, textbook. People who are experienced use this particular technique, and it goes as such. Immediately, as soon as a referee sanctions the match, he goes in there and he gets a takedown right away, and he mangles him on the ground, and he makes him panic. He makes him panic immediately, and then he lets him go. It's kind of like how a venomous viper, will bite the mouse and then let him go, and then he'll go get him later. This was the same technique that he utilized. He showed him the wrestling prowess. He showed him the wrestling prowess, and he put it to him really, really quick for about 30 to 40 seconds. Then he let him go. And then now they're standing. Now that they're standing, the fear of the takedown is there. right? So once the fear of the takedown is there, Trevin Giles can let go of his hands, and that's what he did. He let go of his hands. He showed the takedown, let go of his hands, and before you knew it, it was a wrap. It was excellent, excellent, excellent veteran technique upon the newcomer. Now the newcomer has been baptized. Now he knows. Now hopefully he can do that to the next new guy, if that guy allows him to do that to him.
Yeah, man, we will see. But shit, man, Trevin Giles looked so fucking good, so fucking good. Um, so shout out to Giles. I mean, there's not much to be said, right? Like, just a masterful kind of dissection. I mean, theoretically speaking, right? We're gonna take this shit to school, and I'm taking this shit to school because how official that you look, Voodoo Maximus. But theoretically speaking, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if we're in biology class, right, and we're dissecting frogs, right, to figure out shit, right? So, I mean, seriously, it was one what's his face, Bevan Lewis, that was the frog, and Trevin Giles just dissected his ass. Like, oh, here's his liver, here's his fucking head, just fucking dissected him. Like that was it,
Hey,
and oh, go ahead.
oh well, once he put the fear in him, he took away his jab, which was his best weapon. The whole entire time, Lewis could not commit to his jab, even though he had the reach advantage. He couldn't commit to his jab, and that took him out of the game. That would have set the tone for Tevin to understand you don't pass this zone. But he wasn't able to do that because he himself didn't believe in his jab because he was under the fear of being taken down and humiliated on the ground. That pretty much took over his mind, and he paid dearly for that in the third round.
Yeah, third round KO TKO. The shit was fucking nice. It was fucking nice, And Jesse says Trevin Giles' jab was on point, set up that KO. It wasn't even a contest. Bevon was a step behind, 100%. But he was tough though, absolutely, absolutely. But the striking set up the wrestling. Wrestling set up the striking too. Yeah,
Yes,
it was just
that's
masterful,
right.
man.
That's
Like
right.
I'm surprised Trevin didn't get a bonus, a performance bonus. Like I would have fucking, if I'm Dana White or like Ari Emanuel, I would have pulled Trevin Giles aside and be like, "Yo, kid, here we go," and break him off a piece of little
Yeah,
something something. Like it was nice. That shit was
yeah,
crispy. And that is the last time I try to use
yes, yes.
young euphemisms because I feel old as shit. But anywho, my goodness,
I
we
mean,
start out.
he e-
Oh,
he
good,
executed he executed appropriately.
damn
Yeah, I
right.
was
And
saying that
I
he
mean,
executed appropriately.
yeah, I mean, much like Bret Hart, the excellence of execution. Fuck yeah! So that was, I mean, Trevin Giles was the Bret Hart of the night. I'm giving him the official Voodoo in the Woods Bret Hart Award of the night because he was the excellence of execution. And yes, Jesse Velasquez says crispy, 100%. I like my shirts like I like my fucking chicken, crispy as fuck. How about that? How about that? But speaking of things, holy fuck, man. Claudia Gadelia against Zion Yan. This was so fucking fun. Like, this is probably one of the only decisions of the night, right? One out of two decisions. Wait, no, three. We had three decisions off of an 11 fight card, right? So
Right,
this
right, right.
this was fantastic. Um, I almost didn't know who because like it seemed like Claudia was piecing up Jan, but then every round ended, and you looked at Claudia's face, and you're like, oh, she looks like she got put through the meat grinder. She looks like Ricky Steamboat after doing an angle with Ric Flair in Mid Atlantic Wrestling in the Carolinas, where they sandpapered his eyelids and whatever. That's what Claudia Gadelha looked like. Man, Jan. I mean, what do you got to say about Jan striking?
It was beautiful. I mean, I kind of had an idea that the fight was going to go exactly the way it went. If it went to the ground, then Claudia will have absolute dominance on the ground. But if it stayed on the feet, I knew Jan was going to piece her up real nice and real sweet. And just like as predicted, as soon as Jan started touching her, she went straight for the clinch and took her down to the ground with the inside trip. And they stayed down there, I believe, for the rest of the round. But what Young did that was different from most opponents was she kept fighting from the ground. Even though her back was on the ground, she was throwing lots of elbows. She was doing things to occupy Claudia, right? You cannot strike someone when they're striking back at you. You have to protect yourself, right? So when the round ended, Claudia, I believe, must have felt it was a effort that was to a loss, and she tried to stand in the second round. And in standing, she got pieced up. By the time she went back for the takedown, Young had already worked up a sweat. The takedowns aren't going to be as easy, and maintaining control in the clinch, it's not going to be as easy as well. So she was able to hold her for some time, but then she had to let go sooner or later because Young kept moving. She just didn't stay there idle. She kept moving. She kept squirming, and she was able to worm her way out and right back to that hand technique that she does so well. Her boxing is so beautiful. Excellent display of 1, 2, 3, and counter striking. She didn't kick much because she didn't need to kick. This particular opponent, if you kick her and she catches your leg, you're going to the ground for a long time. So Yan knew that, and she utilized that boxing to a T. And it was an excellent performance on her part. I believe she also got performance of the night, didn't she?
I
Or am
believe
I
so.
tripping?
I'm looking at the Google machine, and no, she didn't. I mean, theoretically
She
speaking,
didn't.
that she could have, if not for the next fight. But I mean, that's a tough act to follow. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fuck, man. This was masterful striking, and she didn't look like she had been in a fight at all. But Jesse has a unique perspective, and I don't think is wrong in it. Claudia has the same problem every fight. She looks great early, but gets tired at the end. Maybe too much muscle. She always looks big for the weight class, but she's got to get her cardio up. And I can't. I don't disagree at all. I think that's a perfect assessment of where Claudia is in her career. And he also says that Jan striking looked great though, but she really needs to let the hands go. Yeah, it was it was a sleeper hit of the not summer because we're not in the summer anymore. Damn it, the summer we were inside, and we're still inside, and it's a different season. But I digress. Um, yeah, I mean, I would have loved to. I
But
think she,
one more thing,
which would be,
one more thing. Jan is now in the talks for the belt. Did you catch that? They're talking
yeah,
about, when are we going to see China versus China?
yeah,
Yan versus Yang Wei Li. Would that be
yeah.
an interesting matchup?
I mean, you got to do that in China.
I mean,
Like
who
you
do you
got
see winning that particular matchup? Yang
fuck.
Yang Wei Li versus Yang Zhang Yang.
Oh my gosh, fucking Zhang
Who
Weili.
wins that one?
Like that's. I think the champ wins. No, okay, theoretically speaking, right? Um, that was a good performance by Yan, no doubt about it, right? But does she have the ferocity of Zhang Weili, right? And just like
Power.
just like Jesse said, She really needs to let those hands go. That is something that you don't have to tell
Mhm.
Zhang Weili to do. Not at all. She lets those hands go like a motherfucker. You know, the champ would be her versus champ would be fire, striker versus striker. But I think fuck, look, look at who Zhang Weili right has defeated. Right, so she's defeated obviously the former champ in Andrade, right, to win the title. She beat Jessica Andrade, who looked fucking scary. She almost looked like Shogun Hua, right? But she faced in Zhang Weili, Shogun Hua had John Jones, and so to it, uh, Andrade had Zhang Weili, right? Like you think that they're going to go on these huge fucking runs, and they get bested by a once in a lifetime type talent, and I think that's what Zhang Weili is. So I don't think it goes well for Yao. It's good for the Chinese UFC market. That will definitely give. I mean, we were in talks pre-COVID for the UFC to have a performance institute in what was it in China, right? That was it. Fuck my in total disclosure, folks, and I'm not giving any financial advice, but there's a little company that could called Neo, NIO, and I am 111 shares in, and that shit is crispy. That shit is crispy as fuck. Just saying. I'm liking, being able to sit on my ass and make some money, and Neo's done it for me. So shout out to Neo. But I want Zhang Weili versus Yan in Beijing, and them basically get driven out to fucking Neo cars, like they fucking are in Neo cars, and they fucking just get driven to the octagon. That shit is fire. You fucking biggest stadium. You can have 100,000 people. Like the elusive like $100,000 what Dana and company wanted to do at Cowboy Stadium in Texas, you can do in Beijing. Like you can fucking do that. It's not even a. That's not even a question. You know. So that's it.
Yeah.
But
But,
Jesse Brig.
I
Oh,
mean,
go ahead.
the Chinese population is what, 2 billion. You know they're
Yeah.
used to having huge arenas. You know they're used
Yeah.
to having 100,000 seat arenas. They have to accommodate
Yeah.
all those people, man. So for these two ladies to fight, first of all, it'll be the biggest one of the biggest moments in women's fighting history. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Two Chinese women for the title. When do you see that at the highest level? We've never seen that before. This would be the first time we're seeing something like that. That's gonna be probably one of the highest grossing moments in history.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. But the thing that would thwart our kind of fantasy booking, so to speak, is Jesse brings up that Zhang Weili is fighting Rose Namajunas. That shit. Just give him the damn fight of the night
Yes.
bonus. Give him all of the fight. Uh, the winner of that wins all three fight bonuses. 150,000 extra to whoever wins that fight, because that shit is gonna be like fucking Gwen Stefani. That shit is Bananas. That shit is bananas. That shit is bananas. Just fucking put that money
Yes.
on, like
Hey,
fucking a. I
hey,
don't know what the fuck is gonna happen though.
the great thing about this particular match, Rose versus the champ, is the champ was the one that called out Rose. That's what's great about it. The
Mm-hmm.
champ is seeking out the very best in the division. If you've ever held this title, I want your name on the wall. You know what I mean? She's already taken out one former champ, which is Joanna Jędrzejczyk, in dramatic fashion. Lumped her up real good, and then now she wants Rose Namajunas. When she runs through Rose Namajunas, there's only one more person to run through. We all know who that is. The very first, the Cookie Monster. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Carlos
She's gonna
Sparta.
be next. I have a feeling Carla Esparza, the Cookie Monster, is gonna be next after. If she's able to beat Rose, she's calling out the Cookie Monster next, and she's gonna attempt to smash her too. This is what I believe is going to happen. She wants
Yeah,
to be the undisputed, the undisputed. She wants to be the Khabib, but it's gonna be the Jean Weili of the division.
yeah. So we shall see. We shall see what is going on, And Jesse says, insert take my money Futurama meme. So there you go. I'm not much. I know Beavis and Butthead. That's like the only cartoon that I know. Um, yeah. So fire, fire. That shit is fire, fire. You know, and or Tatiana Suarez is the worst matchup for all those girls. No, 100%. But I mean, obviously, Tatiana's. She's still. I want to say she's convalescing her injury. It was going to be like a 2-year layoff. I think she's like a year's into kind of her 2 year sabbatical. So we shall see. But man, that division, Jesus Christ, that strawweight division, it's so good. And then you've got like obviously Little Monster, Vanessa Demopoulos, in LFA. You've got Brittany Cloudy. You've got the current LFA strawweight champion and Lupi Godinez. Oh my God! It's never been so stacked in the strawweight division. I mean, we're not even talking about Invicta. Invicta is a fucking another level. Oh my goodness! Like it's buddy.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's I
Yes.
got that's
Yes.
some
I
goosebumps
mean,
shit.
most
It,
of these women are coming from Invicta anyway, because this is the only tunnel for women, right? Is there anywhere else the women are coming from besides
I mean,
Invicta?
there's well in terms of like where UFC picks, that's a different story versus like what are the like the elite, because one championship obviously has uh females, of that weight division and shit like that. And I mean it, like, good lord, like there's some um one championship fighters, chocolate. There's some one championship fighters, chocolate, chocolate. Just give me chocolate. I'm sorry. I had like a sugar crash or some shit. I'm like telling my kid to give me some chocolate. But anywho, that didn't sound right. Um, no, Twix. Oh my lord. Something. Come on. We're live. This is live shit. Don't give me M&Ms. Get that shit out of here, kid. Yeah. Wait, there's another on the table. There's a table. There's a, damn it. Give me a Snickers. I'm hungry. Why wait, fucker? Sorry, my plates. Yeah, that's young Owen Woods. Hopefully in good training. Hopefully in good training he'll be my young Jamie, but I don't know. Yes, I win. Fucking A. Can you see this? Bam. There you go. But yeah, so I win. Like I got done with the workout and then the very first fighter, a professional fighter, Radhiri Dudes, literally said, I'm going to do 15 minutes with you. So I said, fuck it, let's do it. So I didn't get to eat. So I'm going to savor a York peppermint patty. And so just saying. Weird shit happens here at Video in the Woods. But Jesse's saying Invicta and LFA, one champion, was all competing with the UFC, I think. Well, I mean, Invicta, theoretically speaking, they obviously filter up to the UFC, so there's no competition there. Invicta also filters up because they're on UFC Fight Pass, but I think the only true alternative would be, or at least for the female strawweights, are one championship. And they've even got atom weights, like 105 pounds and what have you. So I just can't wait. I love it. I want every, you know, company to basically have a strawweight
Yes.
division, an atomweight
Yes.
division, a featherweight division, right? Like just everything. Give it all. Just like there should be. I think that the men's division should be like every 10 pounds. There should be a champion. Like that's I don't know, but we will see. But
I will.
fucking A, it's awesome.
I would. I would love to see companies do cross promotion competition. I would love to see it because there's an argument to be made that the women in one championship are better strikers. You know what I mean? Because a whole lot of them come from Muay Thai. You know what I'm saying? They come from kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I've seen some of their fights, and it's highly competitive, especially at the 105 level, the 115, the 105 level. They're very, very competitive in that region there. And imagine cross promotion squabbling. That would be a sight to witness. But then if ONE FC ends up edging out the UFC, how does that make the UFC look? So I don't see the UFC engaging in these types of cross promotion activities, but Bellator and the other ones can. What they got to lose?
Mm-hmm. This shit is WWF as fuck, right? When your favorite fighter comes over from another organization, whoever homegrown WWF guy or girl is just gonna beat the shit out of them, like 100%. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's weird. As much as I want that to happen, I also
Yeah.
like I like my fighters dominant. Like Vanderlei Silva, when he came back to the UFC, he wasn't the same Anderson Silva. So I kind of don't want to see that. I just want to see him gas to the gills, wrecking motherfuckers. Like that's kind of what I want to see. And there's a place for everything, right?
Yeah, like Ubering.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will see. But I mean, this is a great fight for both ladies. And again, it's time to go back to the drawing board if you're Claudia Gadelha. Like it needs to happen, and I hopefully she can do it before and turn it around before she gets an axe, but from the organization. But I mean, it's like I think Jesse's assessment was absolutely true. Like the fact that she puts on way too much muscle, that could be a factor. Where she could improve her jiu-jitsu, improve her striking and whatever. The same amount of time, just differently. So we will see. But fucking Jesse's laughing at me and my fucking sugar fix. Just saying. We just gotta
Hey,
work out.
Claudia Gazelia, nothing's gonna change. It's too late. It's too late. She doesn't.
You
She
think
doesn't
so?
have the Yeah, she doesn't have the body type or the time or patience to learn to get intricate with her striking. She had been so dominant with her jujitsu all her life that now it's too late. I don't think she's willing to put in the work to get her hands to where it needs to be. I think she's content where she's at being a gatekeeper. I don't see anything changing. She's still gonna beat 85% of the people that she faces. Even 90% she's gonna be able to beat. But then there's that 10% she won't be able to beat because she's not willing to put in that extra effort. That's my personal opinion.
That's fair. No, I think there's something to that. Like I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. But shit, me, man. I mean, it's a fall from grace for a former UFC world title contender. Like uh, that's disheartening. Super disheartening. Now,
Yeah.
obviously,
You got to evolve with the times. You got to evolve with the times. And if you can't evolve with the times will run you over.
yep, because more stay in the fucking time. OEOEO. Want to get to know you. Jungle love. I'm just saying. Just saying. But shit. Speaking of like somebody that had absolutely fucking no love for his opponent, we had my name is what? My name is who? My name is Jigga Chickadaisy. I'm just saying.
Who?
Yeah, man. Jig just saying. Jigga earned himself a nice cool 50 G's on top of his fight bonus because he fucking head kicked the shit out of the Afro Samurai Jamie Simmons. Uh God, this is an annihilation. I almost felt like I was watching ECW and that total annihilation finisher. I can't remember who had it, but that's what this shit was. Like, it wasn't even close. Obviously, you know, um, Jamie Simmons getting the call to the UFC, fighting in LFA and other farm organizations, but I mean, it was just he was outclassed. One, I mean, first round head kick, into the fucking ground and pound. This wasn't even close.
Yeah, yeah. It was the game plan was pretty simple. Looking at Jamie Simmons, what the only tape or the tapes of him was he's an extremely good grappler. So when you have a situation like that, you got to establish your jabs, you got to establish your front kicks, keep that distance, let him know exactly where you want him to be, and then you can pick him apart. And that's what Jigga did. Chikadze, Jigga Chikadze. That's what he did. He used his striking. The man Jamie, was able to get a clinch on him and try to take him down and impose his grappling, but Jigga was too strong and too ready for this newcomer. He treated him like a newcomer and he knocked him out like a newcomer. Roundhouse kick to the temple. First, he delivered a nice, good one to the liver. Young Jamie was quite, absorbent. He absorbed it. He took it in, and he didn't let anyone know it hurt. But the next shot that came was to the head, while Jamie was trying to protect that liver because that first shot hurt him so bad, but he hit it, but he couldn't hide when that second shot went for his head because he was more worried about getting hit in the body than watching where the shin is headed. You know what I mean? He just assumed that it was going right back to the body because the last one hurt him so bad. So he dropped his hand, exposing his temple, and spat shin to the temple. He was down, and then he, went out to a couple of more shots, and then the referee saved him. It is what it is. He was in there with a superior striker, and it is what it is. Jiga Chikadze is that guy from King's MMA doing his thing. The man's from Georgia, training in LA at King's MMA with Rafael Cordero. What are the odds of that, huh?
Yeah, man. Georgia meets Brazil, and we're again not the sweet peach Georgia. It's the actual country of Georgia. So I'm just saying. But that's, I mean, a good win for Giga. It's funny because Jesse said that everybody knew that Giga was going to win. Last minute replacement got wrecked. Hopefully they bring him back. Love his nickname, Afro Samurai. Absolutely. But if you're Jamie Simmons waking up on Sunday after getting KO'd by the man from Georgia residing in LA, I almost feel like he tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. Just saying. R.I.P. Chester Bennington. So, just saying. But yeah, man, this is a mauling. This shit was Alexander Gustafsson's nickname. This shit was a mauling. So but the mauling would continue. The mauling would continue with, I mean, this is back to back. We have back to back performance of the night bonuses given to this. Obviously, Jiga being the first recipient of this kind of back to back bonus. But you picked it, Voodoo Maximus. I was completely wrong. But Khalid Taha of Germany fell to Raoni Bracelos. Now I know you love this because I almost wanted to text you in the middle of this because I was like, this is everything that Voodoo Maximus talks about and loves. Calf. I mean, it opened up with calf kicks, didn't it? Like shit.
Yeah. I was actually shocked that he didn't throw more calf kick because they were highly effective. Every time they landed, he either spun around like crazy or he fell to the ground with simple calf kicks. You know what I mean? He did so much. Well, he could have done so much damage, and he could have ended the fight a lot sooner than he did. It shouldn't even have gone the distance if he would have threw more calf kick. It was quite clear that Khalid Taha, all he wanted to do was strike. And calf kicks is part of striking. You know what I mean? Honey Barcelos, he was a beautiful striker. He had a complete game when it comes to striking. Khalid, excellent boxer, but he didn't kick enough. If he would have kicked enough, then he would have forced Honey to do something different. But he didn't have to because he had more weapons. He had 4-2. You know, he's throwing 2 hands and 2 feet to Khalid's 2 hands. Whenever you have those kind of odds and it's continuous and it's being used effectively, you're always going to have an issue like we had in this particular matchup. And it was Honey putting on a masterful performance. I mean, the leg kicks were beautiful. The uppercuts, everything was just wow. This is something you go back and you watch over because these two gentlemen are high level, and which is why both of them, you know, the company knows what they're looking at. They know quality when they see it. Even though someone lost in this match, no one lost in this match. As you can see, both of them got paid a $50,000 a piece because of that performance. So Khalid is on his way. Don't sleep. Even though he got kicked so bad in his legs, he still walked out of there. I mean, he's hurting right now. He's in bed right now. But he walked out of there and he didn't show any weakness. It was excellent display of MMA. But one of them was more MMA inclined than the other. And that's what won him the match. They both had beautiful hands. They both rocked each other. But the calf kick, like you mentioned, was a key ingredient to victory in this particular match.
Yeah. So, I mean, shit me. This is a great fight. Great fight. And Jesse was mentioning, and I think it needs to be put into discussion. But this fight was great. You know, top. I mean, literally, Roni was on fire. He was tough, but Roni looks like a legit contender. Absolutely, absolutely, and exactly, Voodoo. It comes up again. Raoni had more weapons than Taha. He's usually his hands, but that was my pick for the night. Pick for fight of the night. I absolutely agree. So I hope you put money on that fight of the night. Kind of wager and whatever, because you would have hit like Shelton Benjamin. You would have hit Peter, Jesse Velasquez. So I'm just saying, but uh, yeah, this one was great. Like for everything that I loved about this right here is like this fight is Darren Elkins to me. Like Derek Elkins again is my MVP for this fight card, but this was my Darren Elkins award for fight of the night. This is everything that I love about competitive high level MMA, and this is exactly why.
And the great thing about this particular match is there was no speed advantage. Each guy was
No,
equally as fast. Each
yeah,
guy was equally as fast. However, choices of weapon was what made the difference.
absolutely, absolutely. So we will see now, and we're here at the co-main event, but I actually have something that do you want to talk about this now or after? I think
Well,
we'll take.
before you even begin, I like to tell the people like, share, and subscribe, and tell your homies we about to talk about some real shit right now. Lee, you can go ahead and talk about it right now, man.
All right, talk about some real shit, and shout out to Submission
Yeah.
Underground for this fucking gem, and Heather Stadling, the matchmaker there. But she just posted this on social media. That's Submission Underground 21. We have, let's see, Ishii versus Fowler for the Submission Underground Absolute Championship. We have Amanda Lowen from 10 Planet Jiu Jitsu Portland up against, who's that? Jesus. I know her name too.
The
Jesus.
girl from
Why am I?
Bellator.
Yes.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Amanda Lowen. Felicia Spencer. Yes. Felicia Spencer against Amanda Lowen, right?
Spencer, yes.
Yeah, Felicia Spencer versus Amanda Lowen. Then we also have, now this shit is Pride Fighting Championship as fuck, because we have Ryan Bader, the reigning and defending Bellator heavyweight champion, and he goes up against who? The Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Submission only. That's what we're getting. We have a rematch of Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Rafael Dos Anjos, but in grappling. And we have Anthony Rumble Johnson against former UFC champion and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Fabricio Vicaio Verdum. Holy fuck. This shit, yes, Jesse. Oh shit, this shit is fire. Oh yeah, this like, oh my god. What do you think about this? I mean, shout out to Submission Underground. Thankfully, I already have my UFC Fight Pass subscription. So fucking get your UFC Fight Pass subscription like right now, if not sooner. This shit is happening December 20th in Portland for Submission Underground. What do you think of this fucking card, Voodoo Maximus?
It's a phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's got all the right flavors, man. It's star studded. It's star studded. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing every match that's been put up. I wouldn't mind seeing it at all. That's what's so great about it. I mean, usually when it comes to grappling, I usually want to see the main guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see Grace Gundrum. I'm not really caring about the other dudes. I'm not really caring. But this particular matchup, I want to see what Cowboy's gonna do with Dos Anjos. I want to see what the Black Beast is gonna do with Bader. I'm very curious.
Bader, right?
Every
Bader
matchup,
makes his return to the UFC via Fight Pass. Like,
right?
like the
Every
current
matchup
Bellator
is
champion
wow.
fighting on UFC Fight Pass in submission. Like, this is great. This is shout out to fucking Heather and the crew at Submission Underground. Obviously, the folks that brought you John Jones versus Dan Anderson, and I mean Chael Sonnen. Like, holy fucking A, Submission Underground. Bravo.
It's taking off,
this
man.
Is
it's taking off. Taking off.
This is, oh my god, I'm so ready. December 20th, please come soon. I can't wait. That's a Christmas present come like 5 days early. That is phenomenal. I love it. But with that being said, we are at the co-main event of the evening. We have former UFC World Heavyweight Champion, the Pitbull, Belarus's own Andrei Arlovsky against Canada's Tanner the Bull. Was it the Bulldozer, right? Tanner Bulldozer Bozer, right? And this one was not at all what I thought it was going to be, and it left me disappointed. Like, I was just like, you know. And I mean, shout out to Andre for being able to get that win. You know, a legend, not just one of the. He's one of the all-time greats, right? Andre Arlovsky, right? One of the all-time greats. You know where he stands in that pecking order. That's debatable, but he's definitely one of the all-time greats, right? Still in there, 100%. You know, so yeah, man. I mean, this one where it was like old school was cool. You know, being an old age outlaw, it reigned supreme. But was it the most entertaining fight? Absolutely not. I was just like, fuck. Like, do something. I wanted to poke both of them with a stick, like virtually. Do something. And Arlovsky looked like he was gonna do something. And then also, funny enough, I just realized that Andrei Arlovsky at this current incarnation, he looks like our good friend, a giant version of our good friend Thor the Hammer Skanky, former King of the Cage champion. Andrei Arlovsky looks like a big fucking Thor Skanky.
Yes, I see it.
Shout out to Thor. But
I see it. I see it.
You sustenance. Ah, thank you, honey. Great,
Yeah.
great assistance. Got
Mm,
the kid that brought me candy, and I got bacon mac and cheese. Woo, buddy.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah. What I saw in this particular matchup reminded me of a fight from a long time ago. It was Pat Barry versus uh the Croatian Nightmare. Uh, uh, Left
Mirko
leg
Krokop?
cemetery, right leg hospital. Yep, yep, yep. Remember when
Yep,
they
Mirko
fought
Krokop.
and Pat Barry was starstruck?
Yep.
Remember that? He was fighting an idol or something like he was starstruck. This is exactly the same thing that happened here. I mean, when you think about it, Andrew Arlovsky's been in the UFC for 20 years. 20 years. Where was Tanner Boser in these 20 years? He was probably in what?
Kindergarten.
Elementary school. You,
Kindergarten.
you know what I'm,
He's in
you know what I'm
kindergarten.
saying?
Like that's
So
legit. He
yeah,
was in
so, right. So he gets in the ring 20 years later with the guy that he was watching on TV, and that kind of messes with his head because he did not press the matter with Andrei Arlovsky at all. He did not follow through on his shots. They were all short. They were thrown well. They were well thrown, but they were short. He didn't get in there and get under him like he was supposed to. He didn't use his short height advantage and get in under Arlovsky's shot or even attempt to take down or show him, anything of that nature. He just stayed at Arlovsky's distance. He didn't do anything to get in and get tight and make it non-favorable matchup for Arlovsky. He just stayed in his range. And Arlovsky, being the veteran that he is, he stole the match. He
Yep.
stole the match. And I'm not even mad at the decision.
No, I mean I knew that the decision was going to be that way. And Tanner Boser's 29, right? He was born 91. So theoretically speaking, yeah, Tanner Bozier was 9 years old when Andrei Arlovsky ruled the fucking world, So I don't know if it was like
Mhm.
starstruck or whatever the fuck, but he just could not finish. Like he couldn't. Yeah, it was just bad. It was bad. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, man. So
It'll be
shout
nice
out.
to hear what he has to say after this match.
Yeah, well, Jesse saying all these fights were so great, but this fight wasn't not as exciting in comparison. But good fights. Surprise, Arlovsky is still in there, absolutely, and Andre is a
Hmm.
Hall of Famer for sure. I don't see how he
Yes.
could be.
Yes.
Like you have to like when he decides to hang it up, like you fucking put that guy in the Hall of Fame. That's what you do.
Right
Like
away.
and especially of that era, right? Like unfortunately, Josh Barnett is out of sorts, right, in the UFC because of the false testing, right? Unfortunately,
Mhm.
uh, Randy Couture is out of sorts, with the UFC, as is Ken Shamrock, right? So there's so many. Well, Ken Shamrock is back in the fold because he's in the UFC Hall of Fame, but also in the
Hmm.
Impact Wrestling
He's
Hall of Fame,
he's a Hall
right?
of
So
Famer. Hmm.
right. So,
Hmm.
but it's just those guys of that era, right? That heavyweight area of the late '90s, early 2000s. Like, fuck, man. Like,
Hmm.
if not for them, we wouldn't be here, right? None of us would be watching it. None
Hmm.
of us would
Hmm.
like. I would even say Arlovsky, and I know it's unpopular, but theoretically speaking, Arjan Arlovsky has had a better career than Hoist Gracie, right? Like and
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not talking out of my ass.
I
Like
agree. I agree.
that's it. Um,
I agree.
no disrespect to Hoyce and the Gracie family, because like again, that family, they are the dynasty. They are the hearts of all combat sports. Like there isn't a
Hmm.
better combat sports family
Hmm.
than the Gracies, right? So let's say that. But
Hmm.
theoretically speaking,
Yeah.
Gracie was, I mean, Hoist was almost like Jeremy Lin and Colin Kaepernick's first seasons, right? Theoretically speaking. The reason why I
Mhm.
say that was
Yes.
nobody had heard of them, right? Nobody had heard of jiu-jitsu outside
Hmm.
of Brazil in 1990, whatever the first UFC was, right?
Hmm.
Right? Same thing. Nobody had tape on Jeremy Lin. Nobody had
Yes.
tape on
Yes.
Colin Kaepernick, right? But
Hmm.
once people had tape on them, it was a slippery slope. It was a slippery slope for
Yes.
obviously Hoist Gracie, Colin Kaepernick, and Jeremy Lin because there was footage on
Hmm.
it. It wasn't as
Hmm.
ceremonious as their initial offering was. So, with that all being said, like Andre Arlovsky is a fucking legit Hall of Famer, and I wish everybody was on the on the inside of UFC where you didn't have to think about like, oh, is this guy getting into the Hall of Fame? Are they not? And whatever. Like I hate that, but like Andre Arlovsky to still be not just in the UFC, but to be in the good graces of Dana and Aria Manuel and all of them, like that's pretty unprecedented. It's fucking it's phenomenal. So again, Andre Arlovsky, Hall of Fame. I want to see it, within the next 2 years. Like that's what I want to see.
Now, one more thing. One thing that we didn't mention that deserves mentioning in regards to Andrei Arlovsky. What's keeping him around for 20 years? His ability to adapt to the
Yep.
changing times.
Yep.
Yesterday, Andrei Arlovsky was dynamic. You can see it in
Mm-hmm.
his footwork. He never once stood still and stood there. He was constantly moving. He was a
Yep.
moving target, and he was throwing those jabs whenever he had to. He'd throw a three-hit combination and whenever he had to. You know what I'm saying? He kept moving. This is the secret to his longevity. The fact that he doesn't stand there. You know what I mean? When you catch him, you catch him. He's gonna go to sleep. But if you can't catch him, you're gonna be in there for 15 minutes with him, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
good chance he's gonna win. And that's what happened to Tanner Bowser. He didn't make that connection with that chin. So Orlovsky, being a dynamic striker at this age, dynamic striker at 40 what, 45, something like
Mm-hmm.
that, something ridiculous like that. He's still in it, still in the game. The man is doing things, man. The man, like you said, is an instant Hall of Famer. As soon as the ink dries on his retirement, that Hall of Fame thing is inductive immediately. He is that type of fella.
Yeah. Yeah. 41 years old. Like him. Good lord, him and Glover Teixeira,
Hmm.
motherfucking a man. This is, yeah, I love it. So again, all the props to Andrei Arlovsky, and you're absolutely right. Evolving with the changing times, like that's something that absolutely that that Andre has done. And yes, I agree, Jesse. He said Arlovsky do some new stuff. The side kicks, the spinning back fist. He can still,
Hmm.
the old dog can still learn new tricks.
That's
Hundred
right,
percent,
man.
hundred
That's
percent.
right. That's right. Hey, but Andrei Arlovsky made a huge sacrifice. Andrei Arlovsky, I believe, doesn't have any children, right? I don't believe he
Right,
has children. So to be able to maintain with the times, you cannot have any distractions. It has to require 100% of your attention, and that's what he's been able to do. He's made the ultimate sacrifice so he can become or remain immortal, and it's working for
right.
him.
Yeah, I think it's just him and his dog. That's it. That's
Yeah,
his family. Like no girlfriend, no wife, just that. Straight up Belarus badass. So
straight
I
up.
mean, shout out to you. This bacon mac and cheese goes out to you, Andrei Arlovsky. So salute, my friend.
He's still
But
doing it.
still fucking doing it. Which, I mean, speaking of 41,
Still doing it.
we, yeah, damn right. And we have arrived at the main event of the evening. We have former UFC. Oh, actually, it was a matchup of former UFC light heavyweight contenders,
Hmm.
right? in Glover Teixeira up against Thiago Santos, right? The Hammer,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, there was something that I learned about Glover. I mean, not Glover, but Santos.
Mm-hmm.
Santos is with Yana Kutskaya,
Yes.
which
Yes.
that's fun, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he's Brazilian, his English could be better.
Right.
She's like Eastern European,
Mm-hmm.
and her English could be better. So what the fuck, like language, are they communicating in? That's what I want to know. I was just
English.
like, are they
Yeah.
fucking doing sign language to each other? Are they fucking emoji? Like, are they texting? Do they have the Google shit on lock on their phones to like, here, honey, say this shit and like whatever? Like, how do you make that work? But obviously, at a political kind of weirdness that we've been in, you know, yeah, it's cool, right? Where like two people can get together and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the great thing about their relationship is they have the exact same interests. So there will never ever be a wife complaining or a wife or a girlfriend complaining, "You're not spending enough time with me. You're always training." This case right here, they're in it together. You know what I mean? Their downtime take is together. Their training time is together. You know what I mean? So there's a positive to this union here, and I'm happy that it's working out for them.
Absolutely, but it proved futile, absolutely dead dick in the dirt, because Team Glover, Jesse says, in classic Glover fashion, comeback from getting rocked and broke Thiago. I was worried on how Thiago would come back after his horrible injury, but he looked.
Hmm.
I mean, he looked good still. Absolutely,
Yes, yes.
And yeah, it is in classic Glover fashion. Took some hard shots, came back and broke Thiago.
Hmm.
He's getting that next title shot.
Hmm.
So yeah, fuck. I mean, really, who else is there, right? A contender. He looked good after a horrible injury. I can
Hmm.
still see him coming back. But
Yes.
this is Glover's last shot, and I cried a little bit, right? Like when Glover, and it was funny too because at the post fight, um, you know, like the announcement, right? Thiago went in for a hug, and
Mhm.
fucking uh, Glover was fucking still talking shit to the camera and whatever, probably saying in Portuguese like I still want a title shot. But it was just funny. It was just like that ah ah like this like high five. It was like the like that. It just two ships in the night crossing. But yeah, my goodness. Fucking
Now,
Glover.
I have a theory, man.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of things going on here. I think one, there 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 was a fear of the clout of Glover Teixeira, the his his aura, the aura
Yep.
that is Glover Teixeira. I think one, there was a worry there, right, which caused Thiago to get into a haste when he that he rocked him. He wanted to finish it so quick. The chance of winning is right now, so let me hurry up. Let me hurry up. That got the best of him. And two, I believe respect for your elders, where they come from, culturally could have had a thing to do here because the
Hmm.
respect for Glover from Tiago was just so much.
Yep.
He kept congratulating him and he was willing to accept advice from Glover. He kept listening to what he had to say. Usually dudes want to just leave, like, man, get the hell away from me. But he was there listening. That means he had a lot of tremendous respect for Glover Teixeira. And for sure he was in fear of his jujitsu because once he got to the ground, he didn't even try to get back up. He was just laying on his back, and he was fine with it, especially in the first quarter, first round, as they say. And then the second round, pretty much the same thing. Took him back down, and he grinded him out. In the third round, Glover or Thiago landed another shot and dropped Glover, and then he went down to finish it. he had the top game, but he was able to get reversed. Some kind of, I don't know what he did. I can't remember. He reversed the situation, and now Thiago's on the ground, fully mounted. And every time that Glover mounted him, he turned his back every single time
Every
until this
single
very
time.
last. Yeah, until this very last. He almost got choked out in the second round too.
Yep.
There was seconds left on the clock, and he was able to be saved by the time. But then the third round, Glover got it a lot sooner with time to spare on the clock, and sunk in that rear naked choke, and that was all she wrote. He tapped immediately. There was no need getting put out, wasting brain cells. Resistance was futile, as the Borgs will say.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, man, big win for Glover. Yeah, he needs to. I would love him as a title contender again. Like I want that shit to happen. Obviously, I mean, shit, man. Like, who else? Who else can you really say? Right up against the new chat, Jan Vlakowicz, right? Like,
I see Glover actually beating Jan
yeah,
Blakowicz.
100%.
I see Glover doing, because Glover's got the jujitsu. Jan, what he brings that's so scary is the jujitsu. He's got very good jujitsu. Now Glover's got comparable jujitsu. It'll be a wash when it comes to jujitsu. If not, an advantage for Glover, right? But Glover's gonna do this on his feet. He's gonna beat the hell out of him on his feet. And if he goes for a takedown, he's gonna be able to defend. And if he goes down, he'll get back up. He'll get back up and get right back to war,
Yep.
tagging him, piecing him up with the hands. The way to beat Jan, by hands and feet. That's the only way. You know what I mean? You got to be able to outbox him, and this is why Adesanya chose to fight for the title against this guy. Even though Jan is the bigger man, he is not as fast as Adesanya, and he doesn't have the striking prowess. I do not believe he will be able to get Adesanya to the ground, and he's gonna get toe tag for that. You know what I mean? If not knocked out. The speed advantage and the precision. Precision brings power. You don't have to have a whole lot of mass behind you to throw power. You just got to be precise. If you know exactly where to hit on the chin, on the temple, or the back of the ear, who the individual will go out. You don't have to be a massive individual to knock someone out.
Right.
You just got to be precise. And I believe Israel can knock this dude out easy. Easy.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And Jesse says, he points out that Glover's pressure is ridiculous. No, 100%. Like, that's, whew. And I mean, that's just like his jujitsu pressure. That's just his mat, prowess. But again, the moment that John Hackelman, legendary coach of Chuck Liddell, right, saying that Glover is the most powerful fucking puncher that I've ever had to deal with. But I could feel his knuckles through all of the padding, everything. His gloves, my fucking mitts, and I could still feel his knuckles. Like that's some scary shit. That's like let's just say that's Francis Ngannou power, right? That's just like something you can't teach, that you just have. Like, it's amazing.
It's a connection. See, you know how to connect completely from the heel, from the flat of your all the way through your body to your knuckle to where kind of contact is, then such penetration through the pad. Most people don't have this ability. I just on your hand and drive all that force to come out of that point of impact. So not everyone can do this. Not everyone can do this. And the guys who can do it are very successful. You have the Conor McGregor. He is also capable of making this connection. 100% body connection. Go to Teixeira. John Jones doesn't do it. He knows how to together break you down until he takes. But he doesn't have precision strike. This is why you're so scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So again, I don't want to see even with Israel, right? And much respect to Israel Adesanya, the current middleweight champion of the world, but I don't want to see him leapfrog over Glover Teixeira against Jan Blachowicz. I definitely want to see
Yeah,
Jan Blachowicz up against Glover Teixeira, right? And then after that,
yeah.
whatever you want to do after that, you want Izzy to come up and maybe Glover and Izzy or whatever. But I honestly think after the title, he'll retire. He'll be like fucking Vern Gagne, retire on top with the AWA title. Like, what more do you have to prove?
And I so see over get to there's money made. There's money to be made. Con left 2020 to make a nice change. If I just that to bagging those these days, get bagged,
Yeah,
that's what's gonna happen. That's what's I don't see Gova uh passing Disonya if the opportunity is there. Never give Glover that title for against with Sonya because Adesanya is all champion, right? He precedes Glover just because he's a champion. He's the line. He's always been a rule. What gonna stick? When Glover asked whoever the reporter was, the female reporter asked Dana, "Is Glover gonna be the next person?" He said, "We need to see. We need to see." Once he says we need to see, that's no, no,
yep.
because no one needs to know this guy. But like whenever there's a match that's right then and there, yes, sounds like we're gonna. But if he does understand that Glow is not fighting anytime soon, he'll be fighting after Israel fight. That's gonna happen.
As as much as I want to say, I hope you're wrong. That is absolutely probably going to happen because, and especially what you were saying about Dana, and we'll see. When Dana says we'll see, I mean fucking Godzilla will probably get a title shot before whoever you want should get it, to get a title shot. So it's crazy. Yeah. But Jesse's saying, yeah, to me, Glover deserves it. Not only is he the number one contender, he probably is just the humblest, coolest guy in the UFC. I like that too,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, but Izzy is probably going to get it first. Yeah, because the draw is Israel Adesanya going up, right? And any type of like championship, um, everybody wants to be a
Super fight.
he's super fighter, right? I hate the term, champ. So I'll say double champion.
Champ
We want
school.
a double champion. Yeah, champ squared. Yeah, champ squared,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even Izzy has the talent, to actually claim and defend like three titles at one time. If he goes up to heavyweight, like it's crazy, But I hope
Mm-hmm.
Glover gets a one last crack of the title, and
Me
then
too.
once that
Me too.
happens, yeah, once that happens, we can let the cards fall as they may, But
Yes, yes.
good win for good win for Glover, showing that even at 41 years of age, he's still one of the best in that light heavyweight division, and one of the best in all of UFC. He's still
Mm-hmm.
optimal, in terms of
Yeah,
his prowess.
and he's gone in the cage and finished three. I mean, the last three people that's been in the cage with John Jones. He's gone in there. People that went the distance with John Jones, he went in there and he finished them in a timely manner. So, the man does deserve his chance to sit at the table. He does deserve his chance. And uh, if there was honor in this business, if there was honor in this business, then Glover Teixeira should be getting his title shot immediately. There is honor. This isn't about honor. This or what's wrong. This is about making money. It's the American way. Like Nino Brown said, it's the American way. It's about making money. And he's, the UFC is gonna do what they do best: make money.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you quoted Nino Brown. I'm going to quote Sleepy Brown, and I like the way you move, and that's what we're moving to. Is this Thursday we will have a UFC Vegas, whatever the fuck they want to number it. Uh, we will have a preview show for that on Thursday. But one fight that we will not see is actually the main event, because as of our going live a few hours ago, Islam Makhachev is out. He is out. Yes. So the main event versus Rafael dos Anjos is off of the fucking books. And this was
RD
the first
can't
time in a
break, man. RD
can't catch a break.
Break, man. You know what I'm saying? The last time it was COVID, time before, Impact is so disrespected in this industry, man. The man is former champion, man. He went in there, he toe tagged Anthony Pettis, sounding, and then beat down the guy that started the calf kick, Ben Henderson. He beat him down, sounding, knocked him the F out. Took his title, defended. He beat down Nick Diaz. He beat down Cowboy Cerrone. He beat down.
Yeah.
He was supposed to fight Conor McGregor, man, and that's when his blood started. He didn't get his red panty night fight with Conor McGregor, and then he went up to 170. He beat down a couple of more fools. He got the title shot, and he wasn't. He lost to the Republican fella, the MAGA hat fella,
Colby Covington.
Kobe Covington. He lost to Kobe Covington, but this man is an accomplished fella. He's an accomplished. He's been in the UFC. He's been a long UFC fighter for some 12, 15 years. He's been in the game for a minute, and now he went up and he's come back down to 155, and he's finally in there ready to go. Islam Makhachev, a young man, all things pointed in his advantage, and yet he cannot keep healthy enough to make it to the match. What is wrong here?
Well, this wasn't him at all. Like this one is actually Islam. Islam.
That's what I'm saying. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. What is the deal? Hey man, you have no children. You have no distractions. All you have to do is make it to the fight. This man, Rafael dos Anjos, he's a lot of many kids. He finds time to train. He finds time for his family. He makes all the sacrifices. He stayed on a super healthy diet and went down to 155. He made weight. He did a test run and made weight. You know what I mean? They worked so hard, and this young, I don't know what the situation is. I don't want to say something that's, you know what I mean? I'm just a little upset that pulling out. I mean, he's pulling the fight. That man has fought so hard to be ready, and now he's got to. What's he gonna do now? What's he gonna do? Not fight? Not film?
Yeah, and I mean, what has been said, nobody's saying what it is. They just say it's an undisclosed injury. But RDA, and much to Jesse Velasquez's comment that Team RDA, he's also one of the coolest guys in the UFC, 100%, and he trains with a lot of our friends at Black House MMA. I remember one of the last times I went to Black House, and I actually saw his shin guards just hanging in the corner because I had missed him by like 5 minutes, but he let his shin guards, dry and whatever. And it had Rafael dos Anjos. Like, I mean, I kind of stood, just there in the aura of just this man's shin pads, like that is RDA. He's fucking phenomenal, right? Yeah, and woo. Yes, he asked for Michael Chandler. That would be fucking phenomenal.
Gangster.
Oh,
Gangster.
Yeah, and that's it. that's the thing because I mean RDA has taken the high road and he's wished Makachev out. Like he wished him
What's
a
up?
speedy,
What's
speedy
up?
recovery, but wanted Michael Chandler.
Let's go.
I
I
am
like
not
that.
mad at that. I
I
actually
like
think
that.
that's a better fight. I actually think that's a better fight.
What's up? What's up, Mike? Where you at, Mike?
Yeah.
I think you're scared, Mike. Where you at,
Oh
Mike?
man.
Where you at? I think you're scared, Mike. Take that fight, Mike. Both of you guys are both fathers. Both of you gotta feed your family. You're looking for a match. You want to show the UFC just how good you are, right? You want to show that what they invested in is worth it, right? What better way, right? What better way to go out there and show everyone just how good you are, just how top five you are, that to go in there and dismantle Rafael dos Anjos. Good luck doing that because this is Rafael dos Anjos. He's beaten, you guys have beaten one person in common, and he beat him the first time, KO'd him. Fight was a questionable fight. Many people thought Ben Henderson won that first fight because you were the one leaking from your face and nose and all that. Ben was clean, and he had a toothpick in his mouth. And then you came back and you hit him with a lucky shot. I would call that a lucky shot, a well-placed shot. I'm not going to call it a lucky shot. That's disrespectful. You hit him with a well-placed shot, and then you knocked him out. But Rafael dos Anjos did it the first time systematically, broke him down,
Mhm.
broke him down and dropped him real good. So you guys have one person in common. We know what Rafael can do. We know what you can do. Why not take the fight,
Yep.
Mike? Why not
Yeah.
take the fight? You've yet to fight. Take the fight, Mike. Come on, Mike. Take the fight. Rafael's waiting. Rafael has called you out. Stand up like the man that you are and take that fight. And let's see how far you're willing to go. Rafael's willing to go to hell and back. Are you willing to go to hell and back? Let's see what you got going, Mike Chandler. Get into that cage and save this main event. Let's go, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? A highly touted prospect that even if he takes a fight and he loses to RDA, he's still going to get another fight, right? And he's still
Yeah.
going to get uh like I mean he was ready for Gaethje. I mean theoretically he was ready for Gaethje and Habib at the same time, right? So not saying that RDA is a step below, but I mean I think it's linear. If that's what you're training for anyway, I think it's a linear kind of it's a former champion.
Mm-hmm.
I I think that's a fucking great idea, So
I,
hopefully that happens. Hopefully that happens. I'm
uh,
just
I
yeah.
would love to see that. That actually, until Rafael dos Anjos himself mentioned it, it didn't even cross my mind to throw in there. Said it, it clicked, and it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. He is the exact measurement tape, the perfect measurement tape for Mike Chandler to really show just how good he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rafael, he's not an easy fighter. He's not an easy fight, but yet Mike Chandler has an advantage. You know what I mean? So let's see how what a great advantage you have over Rafael. Let's see. Let's see you go in there and show us just how good you are in the UFC. Let's see where you really place in the UFC. We know where Rafael is. We know where he's at. He's a top 10. We know that. We know that. What you gonna do, Mike Chandler? What you gonna do when Rafael dos Anjos runs wild on you? Or are you gonna be the one to run wild on him?
Yeah, that remains to be seen. I hope this shit happens. I really do. I really do. This is Michael Chandler. Where you at, dude? Please,
Where you at?
let's do this. And I mean, this would have been because we've had a string of 11 fight cards, right? And one actually falling out of this past UFC literally within hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that it got knocked to 10. So this one
Mm-hmm.
is actually a 12 fight card, pillar to post, and assuming that everybody makes weight this week, right? So, keep it a 12.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it a 12 fight card, please. Pretty
Yes,
please.
man. Take the
Pretty
fight.
please.
Take the fight, Mike. Take the fight.
Yeah,
Mike
that's it,
Chandler,
man.
Mike Chandler, we want you to take the fight. And everybody else, like, share, and subscribe this. Let's go.
Absolutely. Like, share, and subscribe to Voodoo in the Woods, both on YouTube and Facebook. But before we go, we want to send all positive energy that we can to UFC Hall of Famer, the godfather of ground and pound, Mark the Hammer Coleman. He unfortunately sustained a heart attack overnight. And he, on his social media, basically posted that they're going to try and remove a blockage. But I mean, Mark the Hammer Coleman. Again, we were talking about great heavyweights, of a particular era, and Mark the Hammer Coleman with his UFC induction, his college alma mater Hall of Famer, right? He is the god. We didn't see ground and pound in MMA and in the UFC pre Mark Coleman. He is so important. And still, his fight with Randy Couture, the last fight that he had, that was less than 10 years ago. This guy
Hmm.
is, somebody that has been to hell and back, addictions, whatever. It's partly chronicled in the Smashing Machine, story of Mark Kerr HBO documentary.
Hmm.
But this
Hmm.
is a legend. He's a member of our fight community, an important member of our fight community. So we're just sending all of our thoughts and goodwill to the family of Mark Coleman. And then also, I mean, one of the reasons why I got over my stutter was because of Jeopardy and Alex Trebek. And Alex Trebek unfortunately passed away this morning out of pancreatic cancer. But if I mean, the world will never be the same without Alex Trebek hosting Jeopardy. That is a worldwide sensation. It basically spun off to other syndicated international shows of same ilk, but empowering the minds of everyone. 7 o'clock here in LA. That was Jeopardy time, followed by Wheel of Fortune. So again, and this is somebody who fought till the end, was still doing shows pre-COVID, uh, advocating for pancreatic cancer research. So again, I wouldn't speak as well as I do, and that's debatable to some, and but I wouldn't speak as well as I would do. I'd have a pronounced stutter if not for trying to get the answers to the questions at
Hmm.
Jeopardy, or actually the questions to the answers rather.
Hmm.
But just sending thoughts and prayers to not only Mark Coleman's family, but the family of Alex Trebek. You, sir, will be sorely missed.
Most definitely. Most
Ab-
definitely. I thoroughly enjoyed those Jeopardy questions, man. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that as a kid. That man is a legend, man.
Absolutely. So we're gonna do, I guess, a daily double, and we will see you on Thursday here on Voodoo in the Woods. We keep blessing and praise. Oh my gosh, that seemed biblical. But we said positive, powerful things for you guys to do this week. So go out there and be powerful, and we will see you